Hello and welcome to the Listening Post's unboxing channel on YouTube. Today I'm unboxing NAD Bluesound PULSE Soundbar Plus. The predecessor, obviously the PULSE Soundbar, I was hugely enamored with. I love the way it wall mounts, it's basically a stereo on the wall, it ticked all of the boxes as far as I was concerned of a soundbar in a category filled with just average and subpar products. The Plus is significantly better. It's a wonderful rework of everything that I loved about its predecessor. It's 120 watts. There's 2 tweeters, 2 mid-range, 2 bass drivers, 2 passive drives, total of 8 speakers in this unit. It does Dolby Atmos. You can add NAD's Pulse Flex and a pair for wireless rears. There's so many wonderful features in this thing, and most importantly, it sounds amazing. It is short of nothing as far as its performance for something so elegant and so easy to install underneath a TV. It's got every input and output you may require, so let's have a look. Like most of these products, getting into them is really easy. Some simple nicks across the clear packing tape and we're in really quick. This one's double boxed with an inner carton, and to protect the box from a potential craft knife cut, it even has a layer of cardboard on the top, which is a nice little feature. Once you've opened it, getting the inner box out is actually pretty easy because it's got a big plastic handle. The concept, I guess, behind that packaging is that this can have all sorts of tickets and freight labels, all sorts of things, maybe the odd knock, scratch or scrape, and the inner box comes out looking absolutely pristine and beautiful. Now the packaging itself is simple and elegant, but again, elegant. It's lovely to see in such a relatively modestly priced for its features, in wonderful packaging. Again, good solid carry handle, weighted centrally, so carrying it around and getting it out of the car is pretty easy. Opening it is really straightforward. There is a central sticker right in the middle there that just kind of breaks the factory seal, and then a couple of tabs that are easy enough to pull out, and then the box opens like so. Now rolling it slowly opens up to reveal some of the accessories and the products inside. Firstly, a couple of things. In the accessory box, which is clearly labelled with what you will expect to see and branded Bluesound, we'll pause actually, we'll have a wee look. So, opening that, again, very straightforward. There is a Australian New Zealand warranty card. There's some basic information. Most of it is about downloading the Bluesound app. Once downloaded, it interrogates the product and it makes the process of software updating and ease of very easy to use. And it's actually lovely. It's really easy. What we've probably seen with a little label on it is that this product has been opened and all the international power cords that are no use to us have been removed and replaced with a New Zealand figure 8 power cord. Here we go. As a bit of a freebie, there's a reasonable optical cable, a basic HDMI and a basic network cable. In the base, with held in place with closed cell foam, are a couple of optional feet. Now they're little, hang around for the photographs as always, or take some close-ups. These clip in really easily in the back. The feet are when it's sitting on some piece of furniture and it needs to sit sort of flat. Otherwise, of course, as we'll see later, there's a wall mount in here as well. There's a couple of spaces and other things in there for its installation. There we go. Then we see some folded cardboard to form extra packaging across the middle to support the unit. And in that folded cardboard is the quick start guide. Now I guess with most people nowadays kind of understanding, and typically this isn't your first hi-fi purchase when you're seeking something out as good as this, the quick start guide is often all that you may need. It's folded and it shows all of the inputs and outputs that you will use on a daily basis. At this point, we're going to have a look at the final accessory that it comes with, which is its wall mount. Now the wall mount, there's extrusions along the back of the speaker, which I'll show you, and again we'll show you with some close-ups, that enable the speaker to sit in either orientation, whether it be with the plugs and sockets at the top or at the bottom, depending on its application. In here is a template that folds out for its for mounting and knowing where the screw holes and things need to be, as well as the wall bracket I mentioned. It's very easy with the multiple locations for screw types to get the most out of it, and it's even got a little arrow in it to show you which way it goes. In addition to this, there's also a couple of little pads. They're just sort of anti-chatter pads really that you can put in, and if required, stop it from vibrating up against it once you've finished your installation. Okay. Now at this point, lifting the unit out itself is relatively straightforward. I mean, remember that this is a big and heavy product, and it's much heavier than most expect because it has so much on board. Now before we sort of drill in, have a look at the fact that these are using folded cardboard in their packaging. The cardboard, of course, can be recycled very, very easily, or if it can't be recycled, decomposes or composted if required. NAD has chosen in its packaging to think a little bit outside the square and introduce any number of options that see a more of an ecological approach to some of the packaging questions that most manufacturers choose to ignore. Okay. Now, other than a desiccant bag in there somewhere, we're finished with the packaging and we'll get that. Okay. Now the soundbar itself is protected in transit in a simple cloth bag. The bag is the same style of bag that we see in all of the Bluesound products, the PULSE Flex and the PULSE Mini. The bag is exactly the size and shape you would expect, and it means that the product has no marks, no scratches, nothing as far as its transit. Now looking at the product for the first time, you'll see how elegant it is. The only implication as to its operation is this simple little display in the middle. Look, it's worth mentioning, in this model they've added Alexa control, Siri, and it's got it'll run Dolby Atmos as well. Now of course in a soundbar, Atmos is going to be a virtual surround sound, clearly, but at least it will decode it nicely and does a really, really good job. Most importantly, and why it's so heavy and well appointed, is its musical performance. That's where it's a stereo you put on the wall. That's very unusual. Most soundbars rely on the tinkle whiz bang of home theatre, but can't offer any real world music performance. And why I love this product is how good it sounds for stereo. Now, with that in mind, it's worth mentioning that of course it plays FLAC and WAV files. It even does MQA streamed and has 24-bit 192K DACs on board. Now the central panel, back to there, has an IR sensor, but as I tip it forward, and again hang around for close-ups as always, is the Bluesound logo, and at the edge an emulation of the same. Any information that's on the soundbar is also on the opposite side, enabling you to swap its installation around and hang it or sit it in any way you might need. Add the feet, and they just clip in, and you can have this product sitting neatly and tidily on a cabinet. And typically with a cabinet installation you'd have it orientated this way, which sees the plugs and sockets disappearing down. However, use the wall mount and typically you'd face it this way, with the plugs and sockets facing upwards, enabling the cabling to come from the television discreetly straight into the soundbar, enabling an optical, maybe a network and other things like that to pour in from in behind the television, and the sit beautifully, elegantly directly underneath the TV. So, spinning it around again so I can sit it, you will see its overall width, and again, it's not very deep. It's designed to sit essentially the same depth as a television by the time some sort of wall bracket is in place. Looking at the back of it, extrusions that run the full width that clip into the bracket that they supply. Again, those extrusions, it doesn't matter which way it's orientated, it will clip directly in. That's an important little feature. Centrally, we have the inputs and outputs, and this is where it has more than enough, not too many, but enough to get everything operational you would expect. Firstly, it has a figure 8 power socket. It has an input of some kind for servicing, and then a network or LAN connection. And if you're running this in a heavyweight streaming environment, clearly I'm going to be recommending that you connect it via a network cable, don't just run it wirelessly. Although, of course, it's got all the latest Wi-Fi on board if required. There's a USB input, and that can be utilised for small pen drives for music. It has a USB for servicing and software updating, an optical input, which is probably the most common way of connecting it to a TV, and then we've got an analog audio input via a 3.5mm connection. Beside that is a subwoofer output, and that enables this to run out to a cabled subwoofer. The unit now supports, is complemented with and supports the wireless subwoofer in the range, and that wireless subwoofer can be integrated easily, and part of the equalization is set up within the app, told to do all sorts of new tricks. There's also, and finally, an HDMI input for the purposes of supporting eARC audio return out of a modern television. Okay, so there we have it. NAD Bluesound's PULSE Soundbar Plus, their latest generation, and by far their best sounding. Unboxed here at the Listening Post in Christchurch, New Zealand. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more, subscribe to our channel.